Well, hello there, my friend. Come on in and sit a spell. You know, just yesterday I was talking to my neighbor Margaret, sweet woman, about your age, and she said something that really stuck with me. She was rubbing her knees at the mailbox and sighed. Some days I feel like my body's betraying me. And I thought, how many of us have felt exactly that way? That stiffness when you first get up, that little ache in your hips when the weather changes, or that strange flutter in your chest that wasn't there 10 years ago. It's like one day you wake up and suddenly, ordinary things feel, well, harder than they used to. Here's what's really troubling though. Sometimes the very foods we think are helping us stay healthy might actually be making things worse. I know that sounds surprising. After all, we've spent years reading labels, trying to make good choices, doing what the doctors say. But what if some of those healthy foods aren't so healthy for us after 70? What if they're quietly causing inflammation in our joints or putting extra strain on our hearts? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Those sneaky foods hiding in plain sight. Foods that wear a shiny good-for-you label, but might be doing more harm than good for our golden year bodies. And trust me, some of these will surprise you. We'll go through 4 of them together. Foods that could be sabotaging your joints and heart without you even realizing it. But don't you worry, we're not just going to point out the problems. We'll talk about simple, delicious alternatives that'll have you feeling better without making mealtime feel like a chore. Now, I want you to picture your morning routine. Maybe you're sitting at the kitchen table, sunlight streaming through the window, reading the paper. What's in your glass? If it's orange juice or apple juice, even the 100% pure kind, we need to have a little chat. Oh, I know what you're thinking. But it's natural. It's fruit. And yes, fruit is wonderful. But here's the thing. When we squeeze out all the juice, we're left with concentrated sugar without any of the good stuff that slows it down. That fiber in the whole fruit. That's what makes all the difference. Without it, that glass of juice sends your blood sugar soaring like a rocket. Remember our friend Margaret? She switched from orange juice to whole oranges and couldn't believe the difference in her stiffness. It's like my joints aren't creaking as much when I get out of my chair, she told me. Why? Because those blood sugar spikes create inflammation throughout your body, and inflammation loves to settle into joints. And for your heart, well, your heart doesn't appreciate being on that sugar roller coaster either. It's working hard enough as it is. So instead of juice, why not try a piece of actual fruit? A nice crisp apple, some berries in your oatmeal. You'll still get that sweetness, but with all the fiber that keeps everything steady and calm. Now, let's open your refrigerator. See that container of low-fat strawberry yogurt? The one with the happy berries on the label? That brings us to our second healthy trap. We've been told for decades to avoid fat, right? So low-fat yogurt seems like the perfect choice. But here's what they don't tell you. When they remove the fat, they often add sugar, sometimes as much as a candy bar, to make it taste good. And that sugar? Well, we already talked about what it does to your joints. But here's something else. Those healthy fats they took out? Turns out they help absorb vitamins that keep your heart strong. My cousin Frank learned this the hard way. He ate that low-fat yogurt every morning thinking he was doing right by his heart. Then his doctor showed him his blood work, triglycerides through the roof. But I eat so healthy, he protested. When he switched to plain Greek yogurt, with a handful of real berries and maybe some walnuts, his numbers improved within months. The healthy fats actually help your heart. Isn't that something? So next time you're shopping, reach for the plain whole milk yogurt. It might feel strange at first after years of low fat, but add some real fruit and nuts. You'll be surprised how satisfying it is. And your joints and heart will thank you for skipping that hidden sugar bomb. You know, it's funny how these little choices we make every day add up. We're not talking about radical changes here, just swapping juice for real fruit, or trading sugary low-fat yogurt for the real thing. Small shifts, but they can make such a difference in how we feel. That stiffness when you stand up, that little catch in your breath when you walk to the mailbox. It might just ease up when you give your body what it truly needs instead of what the fancy labels promise. Now, I know what you might be wondering about, those other foods that seem healthy, but might not be doing your joints or heart any favors. Maybe something you spread on toast every morning? Or perhaps that bottle of oil you use for cooking. Well, We'll get to those next time. For now, why not try one of these swaps this week? Start with the juice or the yogurt, whichever feels easiest. See if you notice a difference. Your body's been talking to you for years. Maybe it's time we listened a little closer. You know, after we chatted last time, I got to thinking about Margaret again. Bless her heart. She called me just yesterday, her voice all bright and chipper. "You won't believe it," she said. "But switching off that juice and that sugary yogurt, my knees haven't felt this loose going down the porch steps in years." Isn't that wonderful? It just goes to show how those little shifts, those quiet choices we make right there at our own kitchen table, can truly add up. It's not about deprivation, is it? It's about giving our bodies the real nourishment they crave, especially now. Now, speaking of your kitchen table, let's talk about breakfast again. But this time, let's look at what you might be spreading on that whole grain toast you're so wisely choosing. For years, many of us were told, "Butter? Oh, heavens no. That's pure heart attack on a plate. Use margarine instead, it's healthy." And so, tubs of soft, spreadable margarine found their way into our fridges. It seemed like the smart, modern choice, didn't it? Lower in saturated fat, sometimes even boasting about plant sterols or being heart healthy. Right on the label. It looked like we were doing the right thing for our tickers. But here's the uncomfortable truth we've learned over time, my friend. Many of those soft margarines, especially the older stick versions or the really cheap tubs, can be loaded with something far more sinister than saturated fat, trans fats, or partially hydrogenated oils, even if the label now says 0G trans fat. Thanks to newer regulations, there can still be tiny amounts lurking if the processing created them. And what do these trans fats do? Oh, they are double trouble. First, they crank up inflammation throughout your body like nobody's business. Remember how we talked about inflammation settling into joints? Trans fats roll out the red carpet for it. That stiffness, that ache you feel in the mornings? Trans fats are likely making it worse. And for your heart, they're like pouring sludge into a fine engine. They raise your bad LDL cholesterol while lowering your good HDL cholesterol. They make your blood stickier, more prone to clotting. They actively damage the lining of your blood vessels. It's a recipe for disaster, disguised as a health food. Think about my Uncle Bert. Swore by his margarine for decades, convinced he was saving his heart. By his mid-70s, his joints were so stiff, he could barely turn his head to check his blind spot while driving, and his cardiologist was deeply concerned about his cholesterol profile, despite him avoiding butter like the plague. When he finally switched back to real butter, yes, butter, but used it sparingly, and focused more on heart-healthy fats like avocado or a drizzle of good olive oil on his toast. Within months, his inflammation markers improved, his joint stiffness eased noticeably, and his cholesterol profile actually got better. The body knows what to do with real food, even fats, in moderation. The fake stuff, it just gums up the works. So check your tub. If it's margarine made with partially hydrogenated oils, or even just hydrogenated, it's time to say goodbye. Opt for a small amount of real butter, avocado slices, mashed banana, or even a smear of almond butter instead. Your joints and arteries will breathe a sigh of relief. All right, let's move from the fridge to the cupboard now. See that big, clear bottle of vegetable oil? Corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, maybe even generic vegetable oil blend? It's probably your go-to for frying eggs, sautéing onions, or making salad dressing. It's cheap, it's neutral tasting, and for years, we were told these polyunsaturated fats were the healthy alternative to saturated animal fats. Better for your heart, they proclaimed. So we dutifully poured it into our pans. But here's the catch, and it's a big one, especially for us as we get a little older. These common vegetable oils are often very high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 aren't inherently evil. Our bodies need some. But here's the problem. We need a balance between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, the kind you get from fatty fish, flax seeds, walnuts. Think of them like two teams working in your body. Omega-3s are the calm, cool, collected team that reduces inflammation and keeps things running smoothly. Omega-6, in excess, they become the rowdy team that promotes inflammation. And the modern diet? It's absolutely flooded with omega-6 excess from these cheap vegetable oils. They're in everything, from processed snacks to restaurant fried foods to our own kitchen bottles. This massive imbalance tips the scales heavily towards inflammation. And where does that inflammation love to go? Straight to your joints, causing pain and stiffness. And it wreaks havoc on your cardiovascular system too, contributing to plaque buildup and heart disease. That bottle of oil you thought was the healthy choice might be quietly fueling the fire inside you every single day. Margaret had this exact realization. She loved making a quick stir-fry with veggies and chicken, always using her trusty corn oil. She couldn't understand why her hands felt so stiff and swollen afterwards. When she switched to oils with a much better omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, extra virgin olive oil for lower heat cooking and dressings, packed with anti-inflammatory monounsaturated fats and antioxidants, or avocado oil for higher heat frying, also great monounsaturated fats and a high smoke point. The difference in how her hands and knees felt was remarkable. It's like the heat went down inside them, she told me. For salad dressings, she even started using a little walnut oil for its omega-3 boost. Small change, big impact. So, take a look at that bottle. If it's corn, soybean, sunflower, safflower, or generic vegetable oil blend, consider replacing it. Your joints and your heart will thank you for choosing oils that calm inflammation, not feed it. You see, it's often these everyday staples, the things we use without a second thought, because they've been marketed as healthy for so long, that can do the most subtle damage. That margarine on the toast, that corn oil in the pan, they seem so innocent, so normal. But replacing them with truly nourishing fats is like removing hidden speed bumps from the road your body travels every day. The ride gets smoother, the engine runs cleaner. And that feeling, my friend, that ease in your movements, that steadiness in your chest, is worth more than any convenience. Now, I know you might be thinking about those bottles sitting in your pantry right now. Maybe the ones promising heart health, with seeds and grains on the label. We've talked about common vegetable oils, but what about those trendy seed oils, or those whole grain crackers that seem so virtuous? Well, that's where we need to look next time. Because sometimes the danger isn't just in the oil itself, but in how it hides, even in foods that shout healthy from the shelf. For now, why not be a little kitchen detective? Check your margarine tub and your cooking oil bottle. See what you discover. Small steps, remember? They lead to big changes in how you feel. You're doing wonderfully just by being here and learning. Let's keep going, shall we? Well, hello again. You know, since we last talked, I've been hearing from so many of you trying those simple swaps. Trading juice for whole fruit, ditching the sugary yogurt for the plain kind, saying goodbye to that old tub of margarine, and switching out that vegetable oil. Phyllis from Boise even wrote and saying her morning stiffness feels like someone oiled the hinges. Isn't that just the best feeling? Knowing a small change in your kitchen can make such a difference in how you move through your day. It truly warms my heart. Now, let's wander back into that pantry of yours. See that box of heart-healthy whole grain crackers? Or maybe those multi-seed crisp breads boasting about their fiber and grains. They sound like the perfect, sensible snack, don't they? Something virtuous to nibble with a bit of cheese, or maybe some hummus. We've been told for years to choose whole grains, and that's absolutely true. Whole grains are wonderful. But here's the catch lurking in the ingredient list of many popular brands: seed oils and inflammatory fats. Remember how we talked about those common vegetable oils like soybean or sunflower oil being high in inflammatory omega-6? Well, guess what's often the second or third ingredient in many crackers, crisps, and even seemingly healthy whole grain chips? That's right. They use these cheap oils because they're shelf-stable and inexpensive. So, while you're focusing on the whole wheat flour or the flaxseed sprinkled on top, your body is quietly getting dosed with the very oils we learned can fuel joint inflammation and heart strain. It's like inviting a guest into your house for their lovely smile, not realizing they're tracking mud all over your clean floors. My friend Arthur learned this the hard way. He loved his afternoon snack of whole grain crackers with a little cheddar. He thought he was being so good, but he couldn't understand why his fingers always felt stiff and puffy by evening. When he finally flipped that box over and saw soybean oil, or sunflower oil, high on the list, it clicked. He switched to simpler crackers, ones made with just extra virgin olive oil, or even better, just whole grains, water, and maybe a touch of salt. Brands like Mary's Gone Crackers, look for the simple ones, or even making your own oatcakes became his go-to. The puffiness in my hands went down noticeably in just a week, he told me. It wasn't the whole grains causing trouble. It was the inflammatory oil hiding in them. So next time you're reaching for that box, take a quick glance at the ingredients. If you see soybean, sunflower, safflower, corn, or vegetable oil listed, consider it a red flag for your joints and heart. Seek out brands using olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil, or better yet, minimal added fats at all. Your snack should nourish you, not sneak in troublemakers. All right, let's shift gears slightly. How about what you're pouring into your morning coffee or tea? Or maybe splashing over your cereal? For many of us trying to be mindful of dairy or cholesterol, plant-based milks like almond milk, soy milk, or oat milk have become pantry staples. They promise a lighter, healthier, more modern alternative to cow's milk. And certainly, for some folks with sensitivities, they can be a godsend. But here's the thing they don't always advertise loudly. Many of these popular cartons are loaded with thickeners, stabilizers, and added sugars. Take a look at that almond milk label. You might see ingredients like carrageenan, a seaweed extract used to thicken, gel-on gum, locust bean gum, or sunflower lecithin. Now, a tiny bit of these might be harmless for many, but as we get older, our digestive systems can become more sensitive. For some, these additives can cause bloating, gas, or even contribute to low-grade gut inflammation. And guess where gut inflammation often shows up next? You guessed it, in joint pain and stiffness. It's all connected, my friend. Furthermore, many original or vanilla flavor versions are sweetened with cane sugar, rice syrup, or other added sugars, sometimes as much as a spoonful per serving. That hidden sugar surge is, once again, no friend to your joints or your heart. Remember Phyllis from Boise? She loved her vanilla almond milk in her oatmeal. She thought it was a healthy, low-calorie choice. But she struggled with persistent bloating and noticed her knees seemed itchier on days she had her oatmeal. When she switched to unsweetened almond milk, and crucially, checked the label for the shortest ingredient list possible, ideally just almonds, water, and maybe a pinch of salt, the bloating eased significantly. She even found one fortified with calcium and vitamin D, which was a bonus. For her oatmeal, she started adding flavor with real cinnamon and a few blueberries instead of relying on the pre-sweetened milk. Her joints felt calmer, and her digestion thanked her. If you prefer oat milk, the same rules apply. Seek out unsweetened varieties with minimal gums and additives. Or consider making your own nut milk. It's simpler than you think. Just soak almonds overnight, blend with water, and strain. Pure, clean, and free of hidden irritants. It's fascinating, isn't it? How food shouting healthy, from colorful boxes and trendy cartons, can sometimes be the very ones undermining us. Those crackers with their wholesome images, those plant milks promising purity, they can be wolves in sheep's clothing for our sensitive systems after 70. But knowledge is power. Simply becoming a gentle label detective, glancing at those ingredients before something lands in your cart, can make all the difference. You're not denying yourself. You're consciously choosing the versions that truly support your vibrant life. You've been doing so well following along, making these connections. We've uncovered quite a few pantry surprises already, haven't we? But there's one more area we need to explore, something often promoted as the ultimate healthy breakfast or snack, especially for weight or heart health. It involves those beloved whole grains again, but prepared in a way that might be backfiring spectacularly on your joints and energy. Think about your breakfast routine. What's sitting in that pretty glass jar on the counter? Or maybe whizzing around in your blender? We'll get into that next time. For now, maybe take a peek at your cracker box and your plant milk carton. See what stories their labels tell. Small awareness leads to big changes in how you feel. Keep listening to your wonderful body. It's telling you what it needs. You're doing great. Let's keep this conversation going. Well, here we are, my dear friend, coming to the end of our little kitchen investigation. Can you believe how many surprises we've uncovered together? It's been quite the journey, peeking behind those healthy labels and discovering what truly serves our bodies after 70. And you know what? I've been so inspired hearing from folks like you trying these swaps. Like Harold, who wrote in saying switching to olive oil for roasting his veggies made his knees feel 10 years younger on his daily walks. That's the power of knowing, isn't it? It's not about restriction. It's about choosing freedom. Freedom from stiffness, from that nagging ache, from worry about your precious heart. Now, let's talk about that final food lurking in your pantry, or maybe whizzing in your blender. The one often crowned as the absolute king of healthy breakfasts. Instant oatmeal packets and store-bought granola. Oh, I know. It seems counterintuitive. Whole oats are fantastic. They're full of soluble fiber, great for cholesterol and keeping things moving smoothly. Granola shouts wholesome and natural from those earthy-looking bags. How could these possibly be dangerous? Here's the twist, especially for us as we navigate our 70s and beyond. Instant oatmeal, the sugar and texture trap. Those convenient little packets? The oats are often pulverized into a fine powder. Why does that matter? Because it makes them digest incredibly fast. Think of it like this. Whole steel-cut oats are like slow-burning logs. Instant oatmeal is like throwing kindling on a fire. It causes a rapid spike in your blood sugar. Remember what we learned about blood sugar spikes and inflammation? Exactly. That quick surge fuels the fire in your joints and puts unnecessary stress on your heart. And that's before you add the flavor varieties. Maple and brown sugar, apples and cinnamon. Those innocent-sounding packets can pack more sugar than a donut. Even the plain instant often has hidden sugars or maltodextrin, another fast-digesting carb. So, that quick, healthy breakfast might be setting you up for a morning of stiffness and an energy crash by 10 a.m. Store-bought granola, the low-calorie and oil bomb. Granola seems like the epitome of health. Oats, nuts, seeds, maybe some dried fruit. But turn that bag around. Look at the serving size. It's often tiny, like a quarter cup. Then look at the sugar content: honey, brown rice syrup, cane sugar, dried fruit concentrates. It all adds up fast. And crucially, look at the fat source. What's holding those clusters together? All too often, it's canola oil, sunflower oil, or soybean oil. Yes, those very same inflammatory omega-6 rich oils we banished from our cooking bottle. You get a double whammy, a hefty dose of sugar and inflammatory fats in every seemingly virtuous handful. It's like the crackers all over again. The good stuff is there, but it's coated in trouble. Remember my friend Mrs. Davies? She adored her instant peaches and cream oatmeal every morning, convinced it was the perfect heart-smart start. Yet, she couldn't shake that mid-morning slump and noticed her fingers felt stiff while knitting. Switching to old-fashioned rolled oats or steel-cut oats made a world of difference. She cooks a batch of steel-cut on Sunday. It's easier than you think. Reheats a portion each morning and tops it with real peach slices, a sprinkle of cinnamon, and a spoonful of walnuts for healthy fats and crunch. The energy lasts. And my hands glide over the yarn now, she marveled. The fiber in the less processed oats digest slowly, avoiding that sugar spike and crash, keeping inflammation lower. As for granola, she learned to be a label hawk, or, better yet, make her own simple version. A big bowl of rolled oats, some chopped almonds and pecans, a handful of pumpkin seeds, a light drizzle of pure maple syrup or honey mixed with melted coconut oil, a more stable, less inflammatory choice, or avocado oil, a dash of cinnamon, baked low and slow until golden. No hidden sugars, no inflammatory vegetable oils, just pure, crunchy goodness she can control. She sprinkles a small amount on plain yogurt or enjoys it with unsweetened almond milk. The difference? No more post-snack stiffness, and her heart health markers improved. Smooth transition into summery and uplifting close. So, my dear friend, let's gently gather what we've discovered hiding in plain sight. Those for healthy foods that might not be loving your joints and heart after 70. Fruit juice. Swap for the whole fruit to get the fiber and avoid the sugar surge. Flavored low-fat yogurt. Choose plain, whole milk or full-fat yogurt and add your own fresh berries and nuts. Margarine, especially with hydrogenated oils and common vegetable oils, soybean, corn, etc. Embrace real fats in moderation like butter, olive oil, avocado oil, or avocado/nut butters. Instant oatmeal packets and most store-bought granola. Opt for less processed oats, rolled or steel cut, and make your own granola with minimal, healthy fats and sweeteners. It boils down to this beautiful simplicity. Choose real, choose whole, choose mindfully. Read those labels gently, not with fear, but with the power of knowing what truly nourishes your unique, wonderful body. Look past the marketing hype on the front and find the truth in the ingredients list. Prioritize foods with names you recognize, minimal processing, and healthy fats that calm inflammation, not fuel it. Don't feel overwhelmed. Start with one swap that speaks to you. Maybe it's trading your morning juice for a lovely piece of fruit. Or perhaps it's finally ditching that old tub of margarine for a smear of delicious avocado. Each small, positive choice is a gift to your joints, your heart, and your energy. These changes aren't about adding years to your life necessarily, but about adding vibrant, comfortable, joyful life to your years. Imagine walking with less ache, breathing easier, feeling that steady, reliable energy return. That's the true gift. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What was your biggest surprise? Which swap have you tried, or are you excited to try? Have you noticed a difference in how you feel? Your journey inspires all of us. Share your wisdom. If this conversation has helped you see your pantry a little differently, please give this video a thumbs up. It truly helps others find this important information. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and clicking that little bell. We're here, sharing simple, honest ways to help you thrive in your golden years, because you deserve to feel your absolute best. Remember, dear friend, your health journey is uniquely yours. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate the small wins, and keep listening to that incredible body of yours. It's wiser than any label. Here's to moving with more ease, feeling that strong, steady heartbeat, and savoring every beautiful moment of this precious chapter. You've got this. Now go enjoy your truly nourishing day. Bless your heart.